So, I don't know, this video might actually be for me, but I'm sure there's somebody that can relate to it. Um, Triggers are actually good. It's like if you can be grounded and be present and really ask yourself like the hard questions. Triggers are good. It's like they help you like dive into like the cracks and crevices of like deepest parts of like pain that's kind of tucked away or hidden in the cracks and crevices. um, I don't know. Today started off with a lot of gratitude, lots and lots of gratitude and appreciation for like the obstacles, the challenges, and stuff like that. Like that's how it started. And it's still been a great day, but I got triggered about an hour ago. And I got a phone call about somebody wanting to look out for someone that I felt hurt me. And I was listening to him, I let him talk. And then I was like, yeah, whatever you want to do. And then when they got off the phone, I was sitting there, and while they were talking, I felt the trigger happening. I was just like, trying to just listen to them, be there. And when they got off the phone, I was sitting there and I'm like, well, why are you bothered by that? And at first I was like, I'm actually not bothered, but I am bothered. It was one of those like, oh man, like, is it just the word choice? It's like, no, you're bothered. Why are you bothered? And I realized that it was because I didn't feel like people were fighting for me. Fighting for me or like actually having my back when certain things happen. Supported me, yes, but in a way that I actually needed, I felt it was missing. And then I asked myself to go deeper, because it's not, when something triggers us, it has nothing to do with the other person. Like the person that's triggering you, it doesn't have anything to really do with them. Most of the time it doesn't. Sometimes it does. But maybe 90% of the time, just in my opinion, 90% of the time is something about just the self. So I asked myself to go deeper with that. Why are you bothered? Okay, you didn't feel like that person had your back. Why do you feel that way? Where did that come from? And this is the part of healing that I think people forget about. Because like there's this talk about, get your body right, get your mind right, get your money right. But I've done all of those things, and there was always something that I noticed that when it's interesting. I'm trying not to segue, but I'm speaking from the heart. And I really don't edit like that. Some people edit, but I'm just raw and real. It's like if it's meant for somebody, it will be. So, I mean, some people get all off in the edits, but I'm just not there yet anyway. Not to say I won't ever do it. But I think this is the part that they don't talk about. Like, you can check off all of those things, like, And afterwards, I still would feel like there's something off or something just still not right. It's like grateful, yes. Feeling better, yes, to an extent. Or for the most part. And it was always so something, I'm like, this feeling is still here. Like, okay, bank account is getting where I want it to be. I wasn't ever concerned about that. And that's the funny part too, is like when you really don't have a desire for certain things, when you get it, you really aren't too moved. Or you mess it up. And you might think like, oh, I should probably do this or that. And it's like, no, that's something you don't really care about. Money is easy to make. I don't care about money. But I was trying to check off the things that I thought was part of healing. You know, like, okay, if this bothers you, then fix it. So it was like, okay, fixed it. And get my body right. Been working out way more consistent. Like I did a lot of working out from 2022 into 2023, and then like the summer through the winter of 2023, I fell off. So now I started back up actually in December, consistently working out. Okay, check that off. I do feel a lot better now that I'm back in the gym. But it's still something else, because it's like you'll know that it's something else when that moment passes and you pause and reflect in the state that you're in. Like you check in with yourself, like, how are you? This is loving yourself too. But emotionally, feeling like I didn't have people having my back. Like, it doesn't mean that, oh, if I don't like somebody, you shouldn't like them. Like, I think that's child's play. It's like, just because one person don't like somebody don't mean I'm not going to speak to them because you don't like them. I don't know what the history is with you guys, but I can only go off of what I'm seeing right now. Now, if they show me something different, then I might be able to say, oh, okay, I feel you on that, or I understand. And I was like, yeah, I didn't feel like, I'm like, is that having my back? So I felt like that's what it was. And then I asked myself again, like, go deeper. It's like, what is it? And of course, like always, right, it goes back to the childhood of certain things happening to me, and I felt unprotected. I didn't feel heard. And it was during my childhood that I lost my voice. Not literally, but there was the emotional things I slowed down on speaking on because certain things happened during my childhood that I didn't understand, because obviously I was a child. I understood, of course, as I got older, but that's when I lost my voice, when it came to like my needs, like what I need or what I won't allow, things like that. So I realized that the trigger was actually highlighting me not speaking up for myself when I needed to, like me having my own back in during certain times where some situations could have been avoided. They could have been avoided had I spoken up, had I stood my ground. Eventually I did. But that was another thing of me asking myself, like, why do you have to take so much pain before you say enough is enough? So I'm just being real, being open and honest. Like, I know this isn't going to relate to everybody because everybody has their own life journey and their own situations, but I'm now using my voice because I know that there are people that are trying to figure out how to heal, that there are people that are trying to learn how to love themselves and be kind of their own best friend in a way. And giving people what I wanted as well. Because overall, no matter what your physical purpose may be, your higher purpose is always to simply love and be loved. So if you're being of service in any type of way, you're spreading love. And this is part of my version. I know people are not going to always agree, and that's fine. Like, Totally fine. And you don't even have to really relate, but if there's somebody else that you may know that is going through something, maybe there's something that they need, and you just are meant to be that protected vessel to give them the message, or to be there for them, or to have somebody else explain it in a way that maybe you'll understand and you can comfort them better or offer them more compassion if this doesn't relate at all. Okay. So yeah, triggers are good, but you really have to be willing to pause. And this is the difference between respond and react. Reacting is where you let the trigger or you let the emotion rule you, rather than being able to respond after you've paused and kind of taken a second to realize, like, is this what I'm feeling? Is it related to the situation at hand? Is it even related to this person, or is it just something with me? And then that's when you go in your corner, your quiet corner, and like, decipher all of these things. And that's when you're able to respond. I had some other messages I wanted to get out, but this is the strongest one because, healing is about, it is about getting your body right, getting your mind right, um, getting your money right. That, because when you're checking off things on your list, you feel good, you feel accomplished, right? You feel successful in those ways as well. You feel good about yourself, especially if you've gone through periods where you felt low or inadequate, whether it's because of how someone treated you or how you've neglected yourself in some type of way. But, aside from the mental, the physical, the financial, the emotional is very, very important. Being able to sit in those dark corners of the mind and kind of flip through those pages and see what parts you've missed before. It's just like, you ever read something or watched something, you go back, you're like, I didn't even know that. I didn't notice that the first time. Or you look at a picture and you're like, were you always wearing that color? It's kind of that type of thing, But I think what happens sometimes is that people, when they go into those dark spaces, they forget to come out. I think they forget to come out because sometimes you can be like, wow, I should have known better. And then now you're building up guilt rather than just recognize, okay, I have to get them on the next one. I have to speak up next time. I have to call this out, or I have to just say, I don't have to say nothing and just walk away. And it's not just relationships I'm talking about jobs. I did another video talking about, people may look at me like I'm a rule breaker or defiant or something like that. But really, I've gotten promotions on certain jobs because I tried to do things my way. But it was the fact that what the underlying thing was, they realized that it was the respect factor that was there, and me not swaying on my values or my morals. And they're like, I want you to be the one. And people are like, why are you picking her? She don't even follow the rules. It's like, no, because I need somebody that has integrity. That's not just every time I say this or say that as if I'm always right. That I need somebody that'll be able to see something that I may not be able to see. And they saw value in that. I don't know why I felt the need to mention that part. That's for somebody. But yeah, sit with those triggers. I mean, I think we live in a world where a lot of people want to point the blame. And it's like, it's okay if you've done that before. Like, I think we've all done that at one point. But the emotional intelligence or emotional maturity, that's where it can kind of come in. That's part of the growth when you can be like, oh, I blame them. But really, if I had never been in a situation, I wouldn't even have them there to blame. But yeah, I think some people get caught up in the dark parts. And that's when they might build up, resentment towards themselves or other people or whatever. Because it doesn't feel good when you realize certain things that you were putting up with, tolerating, or how you were behaving. It's like, yo, that was, I was bugging. Or I really didn't love myself like I thought I did. I didn't know my worth or my value at all. But it's like, now that you know, Glass half full over glass half empty. You know now. So every step that you take moving forward to choose the newer version of you, or your, the more improved, more healthier version, the old you gets to be put to rest, like, can have peace. Thus you having more peace about what has happened. And it helps you to let it go. So every moment, every opportunity you get to rewrite your story, do it. And over time, the growth happens, the leveling up happens, the newer version of you stays a little bit longer than it did the day before, or the week before, or the year before, or years before. It's never too late to change, but it's a commitment. It's not just something you can stop doing if you really want to grow and change. It's a continuous conscious effort. And it's tough, but I think it's also tough to put up with things that you don't have to, or carry hurt and carry pain much longer than you need to or necessary. Take it for what it was and what it's shown you, and do what you need to do to move forward. And don't beat yourself up. Don't be hard on yourself. If you realize that you weren't living in the best light, or you weren't being your true self, or you've been neglecting yourself or abandoning yourself for a long time, every day you choose to keep showing up. And as you do it, it doesn't feel like a chore after a while. It doesn't feel like, this is part of developing new habits. It takes time. It takes time. It's not an overnight process. It's not. It's really not. So, but as you continue to stay committed to it, your experiences improve, your relationships improve, your money improves, your mental, emotional health improves. It doesn't have a choice to, because your vibration has changed. The frequency that you're vibrating on has changed. And yeah, the fear never goes away either, because at some point you're going to be tested on all of this. You're going to be tested. And like the old me probably would have been triggered by that conversation earlier. Like if that conversation had happened like 3 years ago, I would have been triggered something serious. It would have been me reacting versus me responding. But I could see it very clearly for what it was and what it was doing for me, not to me. So I'll be back soon with another video, because I still want to talk about the gratitude part. I was about to give a whole praise shout out to the Most High, like just for all of, and it's funny that this happened today, because I started that video was going to be about gratitude. It was going to be about, giving the Most High praise for the challenges, because I see what they were doing, and it's like, oh, you thankful for it? And it's like, boom, here go a trigger. What you gonna do? And I get to pop my collar now, because I did it. I've been doing it, but it's still, you ever had those moments where they just really stand out significantly to you? You're like, wow, I really am different. I really have changed. I really have grown. It's like, wow. It's like a moment to honor yourself. Like, all your hard work was not in vain. It's not just financially. It's like you have to give yourself honor and praise too, like for any bit of thing that you do different than you would have done even, a month ago or so. Like, you have to acknowledge your small successes. So I think that's it. And I'll be checking with you guys again soon. I got a lot of work to do to finish up here. I actually had to go in the cut so I could get like some time to just get caught up because it's been a lot of ripping and running. So I'll see you guys again really soon.